Hi guys, today I will be sharing how to make red velvet cake roll. For the ingredients, we need 5 egg yolks, 25 grams of melted butter, 25 ml of milk, 1.5 teaspoon of cocoa powder, I use Dutch process, half a teaspoon of vanilla, 80 grams of cake flour, 40 grams of sugar, half a teaspoon of vinegar, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and food coloring. I use tulip red. With the vinegar, I'm gonna use 1/4 of the vinegar and gonna add it to the milk. So here I'm using 1/8 teaspoon, so I do it twice. And then we will set this aside. Combine the cake flour, the cocoa powder, and the salt. Just give it a quick mix. We're gonna sift this later. Now, we're gonna whisk the sugar and the egg yolks until it is light and lemony in color or light pale yellow. Just like this. At this point, we can add the vanilla, the melted butter, the leftover vinegar, which is about 1/4 teaspoon now, and the milk. Give it a good whisk. And now we're gonna sift in the dry ingredients. Gonna mix this using a spatula. At this point, we can add the food coloring. The amount depends on you, but this needs quite a lot of food coloring until you get a vibrant red. So just add the food color when you're happy with it. So I'm adding more because once we add the meringue, this will change in color. So at this point, we're gonna set this aside. So I've got 5 egg whites here and 70 grams of sugar. I'm gonna beat the egg whites until it is frothy, just like this. At this point, I'm gonna gradually add the sugar a little at a time. Once the sugar is all in, we're gonna continue beating this until we reach the stiff peak stage. And this is now the stiff peak stage. See, when I did the bowl, the meringue is staying in the bowl. So now we're gonna combine the meringue into the egg yolk batter in 3 additions using the folding method. Be very gentle when you mix. We don't want to deflate the air from the meringue. This is the second addition. Now, as you can see here, the color is not red anymore, so I added food coloring. This is the last chance to do it. By the way, your oven should be preheated at 160 degrees Celsius. And before you start, line your baking pan with parchment paper. Just like this. This is a Swiss roll pan. I'm gonna write down in the description box the dimensions of this Swiss roll pan. Then now using an offset spatula, we're just gonna evenly distribute the batter into the baking pan, and then we will bake this in a preheated oven at 160 degrees Celsius for about 12 to 15 minutes. Before baking, give it a light tap, And this is what it looks like after baking. Now, as soon as it comes out of the oven, we're gonna do this process. So I put parchment paper on the top, and then I use another baking pan to flip the cake upside down. So this will be the top part of our Swiss roll. And then I've got a clean tea towel in here that I'm sprinkling with um, icing sugar. And now we're gonna flip the cake one more time. So this side will receive the filling. So we're gonna let this cool down completely. Moving on, I've got 250 grams of cream cheese in here, half a cup of butter, and 3 cups of sifted flour. We also need 1 um, teaspoon of vanilla. This icing is enough to make 2 Swiss roll. So I just gonna put in the description box. I gonna write the exact amount because I'm doing double batch of this. So I've just combined the cream cheese and the butter. Make sure that they are room temperature. So beat this and occasionally stop to scrape down the side of the bowl. Make sure that they are at room temperature so it's easier to mix. So I added the vanilla and I continue mixing. At this point, I can add half of the icing sugar. And then start beating or mixing. Now I'm adding some more of the icing sugar. I left some a little bit because at this point, you need to taste your cream cheese, see if you're happy with it. So I decided to add all of my icing sugar. And then continue mixing until it is well combined. And this is our cream cheese icing. The cake has cooled down completely. We're ready to spread the icing. So I'm putting blobs of the cream cheese. This cream cheese has been refrigerated, so it's not too runny. So I'm spreading the cream cheese. You can put as little or as much as you like. There's no rule for this. Just leave a little bit of a gap on the ends of the Swiss roll so it doesn't ooze out. So now I'm gonna roll the cake just like a Swiss roll. If it cracks, it doesn't matter. You can cover it with icing. So now I'm just putting swirls on top of my Swiss rolls just for decoration. And then I've got some sprinkles. The decoration is totally up to you. This is just optional. And then I've got some fondant rose that I'm gonna put as well. Again, optional. And this is the finished product. Now, I just gonna cut the ends of the roll because there's hardly any filling on it. You can refrigerate this before even attempting to cut, but I am very notorious in cutting my cake once it's done baking and decorating. So now I'm just gonna show you what it looks like when you cut the Swiss roll or the red velvet Swiss roll. And this is what it looks like. They are so good. I can guarantee that you're gonna love this. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.